India and the United States are entering a crucial phase in their trade negotiations with a team of U.S. trade representative officials in New Delhi for 4 days of talks aimed at finalizing an interim agreement. The urgency stems from a looming July 24 deadline when a new U.S. tariff framework is expected to take effect. While reciprocal tariffs imposed by Washington have been reduced from 50% last year to 18% currently, both sides are looking to avoid fresh trade disruptions. U.S. officials have indicated that a framework agreement is already in place, with only the final details left to be negotiated. The latest round of talks is expected to determine whether the two countries can convert months of negotiations into a formal trade pact. Despite signs that a deal is close, several contentious issues continue to complicate negotiations. India remains uncomfortable with U.S. demands linked to Russian oil purchases and greater access for American agricultural products. Washington has earlier imposed additional tariffs linked to India's imports of Russian crude, while market access for products such as soybean oil, animal feed, fruits, wine and spirits remains a key point of discussion. The U.S. has also launched Section 301 investigations into India over issues including industrial overcapacity and forced labor concerns. New Delhi has pushed back against these allegations, arguing that trade surpluses are a normal feature of global commerce and highlighting its compliance with international labor conventions. The outcome of the trade talks carries significant economic implications for India. Policymakers, they are hoping that greater certainty on trade relations with the U.S. will help restore investor confidence at a time of heightened global uncertainty. The rupee has weakened beyond the 95 per dollar mark, making it one of the poorest performing Asian currencies. A successful trade agreement now could provide clarity for businesses, support investment flows, and reduce uncertainty for the world's fastest growing major economy. For more on this, our Assistant Editor for Foreign Affairs, Siddhant Sibal, joins us live from New Delhi. Siddhant, can we call this a done deal, or are we looking at some last-minute showdown?
Well, when it comes to the U.S. President Donald Trump and the Trump administration, it can never be done until it's done. And when it comes to this trade conversation, we have seen trade conversation happening in the past. The Indian team had traveled to U.S. And now the American team, led by Brendan Lynch, the chief negotiator, will be sitting down with his counterpart, Darpan Jain, and have conversations on issues like market access, non-tariff barriers, and other key issues. Now, remember, just last week, the U.S. ambassador to India, Sergio Gore, said that only 1% of the agreement needs to be negotiated now, and 99% is negotiated. And he also expressed optimism that the agreement can be signed in next few weeks or months, but there is no deadline and there is no hurry as well. And the focus, of course, will be to make sure that contentious issues are resolved. There are several reports that are coming, but of course, the government remains tight-lipped up on this particular issue, because when it comes to negotiations, things can easily go in negative terrain. But mostly both sides will be hoping that the talks go in positive terrain. Now, this comes even as India, of course, announced the trade agreement with the EU. Now it needs to be passed in the European Union Parliament. We know that agreements with the UK, with Oman, are set to come into force. In fact, this week we will see the UK Foreign Secretary traveling to India. And we know that there are talks with countries like Canada. In fact, the Indian Trade Minister was in Canada for the SEPA trade agreement conversation. So India's focus is to have more and more trade agreements at a time when global trade scenario, situation and rules are being constantly rewritten.
Indeed, Siddhant, we'll have to wait for the July 24 deadline for now and see if it eventually becomes a breakthrough or an extension. Thank you for joining us.